The sirens wailed through the cold evening air as paramedics rushed a stretcher through the emergency room doors of St. Helena Medical Center. On it lay Charlotte Hayes, a renowned CEO known across the country for her iron will, fierce brilliance, and empire-building leadership. But in that moment, none of her power or prestige mattered. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow, and her pulse fading. Minutes earlier, her private car had been struck by a speeding truck on a highway just outside Boston, and the impact had devastated her body in ways the doctors now struggled to understand. The medical team fought desperately to revive her, but every passing second brought her closer to the edge. Alarms blared, nurses scrambled, and panic thickened the air. It felt as if the entire city held its breath, because despite all the wealth, technology, and expertise surrounding her, Charlotte was slipping away. If you believe in kindness, miracles, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It truly supports us in telling stories that inspire millions. Far across the city, in a worn-out apartment that smelled faintly of dish soap and warm soup, Nathan Brooks tucked his 8-year-old daughter, Hope, into bed. Nathan was a single father working 2 jobs, one as a night cleaner in a convenience store, the other repairing old furniture in a small garage behind his building. He lived paycheck to paycheck, holding on to the thin thread of hope that one day their lives would get easier. But despite his exhaustion, he never once failed to smile at his daughter, never once failed to whisper that things would get better. Hope believed him, she always did, and maybe that was why Nathan pushed himself harder than most. Because when a child believes in you, you try your best to become the hero they imagine. As Nathan grabbed his worn jacket and prepared to leave for his night shift, he felt a sharp pain in his chest, worry, exhaustion, something deeper. His neighbor had warned him earlier that he looked pale, but Nathan brushed it off. His daughter needed food tomorrow, bills needed paying, rest wasn't an option. But fate had other plans. Halfway to the store, Nathan saw a woman collapsed on the sidewalk. She was crying, shaking, and struggling to breathe. Nathan rushed to her and helped steady her against a lamppost. She whispered that her sister had been in a terrible accident, that the hospital had called moments ago begging her to come. Nathan flagged down a taxi for her, pushed a few crumpled dollars into the driver's hand, and helped her inside, insisting she go immediately. The woman thanked him through tears, but Nathan only nodded, tightening his jacket as he continued his walk through the freezing night. Hours later, at St. Helena Medical Center, as surgeons hovered anxiously over Charlotte's failing body, her sister, the woman Nathan had helped, burst into the room pleading for good news. But no one could give her any. Charlotte was losing blood faster than machines could replace it. Her rare blood type left them scrambling for donors, but there were none available. The nearest blood center with a match was nearly 90 minutes away, time Charlotte did not have. The head surgeon muttered under his breath that they were going to lose her, and that was when the doors burst open. The woman Nathan helped earlier ran in, pulling a doctor aside and telling him about the man who'd come to her aid. In her panic, she remembered something. The hospital had once treated her family, and their blood types were unusual but similar. She remembered her sister telling her a story years ago about meeting a delivery driver who shared her exact rare type. A kind stranger who helped her lift heavy boxes when her company was moving offices. She kept repeating the man's name, Nathan. She didn't know why, but something in her heart told her to find him. The doctor checked the database for Nathan Brooks. His name appeared. He donated blood during a workplace campaign years ago. The match was exact. Now they just needed to find him. At the convenience store, Nathan was sweeping the floor when 2 police officers rushed in, followed by 2 EMTs. His heart pounded as they explained the situation. They needed him immediately. A life depended on him. Without hesitation, Nathan tossed aside his broom, grabbed his jacket, and sprinted into the ambulance. By the time they arrived at the hospital, Charlotte's condition had deteriorated beyond anything the medical team had expected. Machines screamed warnings, doctors shouted instructions, and Nathan, breathless and overwhelmed, was pulled into a room where a nurse explained that they needed a direct transfusion. Now Nathan didn't hesitate. He thought of his daughter, he thought of the woman he had helped earlier, he thought of the invisible thread of humanity tying strangers together in moments of desperation. He rolled up his sleeve and whispered a prayer. As the transfusion began, the room fell into a tense silence. Charlotte's heart rate flickered. Her breathing wavered. Her pulse struggled, then steadied. The medical team exchanged hopeful glances. Minutes stretched into eternity as Nathan sat weak and pale, donating blood he could barely spare. But he didn't stop, not once. Slowly, Charlotte's color returned. Her heartbeat grew stronger. Her vital signs stabilized. The doctors stared in disbelief. They had done everything they could, but it had been Nathan's blood, Nathan's sacrifice, that pulled her back from the brink of death. Hours passed before Nathan was finally allowed to rest in a small chair outside the ICU. Exhaustion washed over him like a heavy tide. When he awoke, he expected to be alone. Instead, Charlotte's sister sat beside him, tears streaming down her face. She whispered that Charlotte was conscious, asking to see the man who saved her. When Nathan stepped into the room, Charlotte looked fragile, nothing like the powerful figure the world knew her to be. Yet in her eyes was a warmth, a depth of gratitude that words could never fully express. She took in the sight of the tired, humble man standing before her, wearing a second-hand jacket and scuffed shoes, and asked what she could possibly do to repay him. Nathan simply shook his head. He said he didn't save her for a reward. He saved her because someone needed help, and that was reason enough. But Charlotte wasn't satisfied with that answer. When she was discharged weeks later, she arrived at Nathan's apartment with her sister and a team of legal advisors. Nathan panicked, thinking he'd done something wrong. But instead, Charlotte smiled and handed him a folder containing documents that left him speechless. A full scholarship for his daughter, a new job for him at her company with a salary that would change his life, and assistance to help him move into a safe, comfortable home. It wasn't charity, it wasn't pity, it was gratitude and a belief that kindness should never leave someone empty-handed. Their lives intertwined from that day forward. Charlotte often visited Hope, who adored her. Nathan became not just an employee but a trusted friend, and Charlotte carried with her a profound reminder that no amount of wealth could ever compare to the heart of a man who gave everything without expecting anything. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep creating stories that matter. Before the story ends, leave a comment telling us what part moved you the most. In the end, Charlotte regained not only her life, but a new understanding of humanity, while Nathan and his daughter found the stability and hope they had prayed for. And somewhere in the quiet corners of Boston, a powerful CEO and a humble single dad remained bound forever by a moment that proved kindness can rewrite destinies in ways no one could ever predict.